So I'll just let Angela take it away.
Welcome. I knew this would probably be a smaller group, so if you want to move up closer so we can chat at the end with questions, feel free, although Neil didn't have much luck with it in the big session. But anyway, thank you for being here. I am a retired farmer, as he said, and actually I'm doing about preserving your farm heritage, not necessarily land transfer, but they're kind of connected, and land transfer is something that we did deal with, so, but I won't go into that. I'm assuming here because you have thought about in some way doing something, preserve your family's farm heritage. It's something important that if you don't do something, it will go away. And everybody has a farm story. I don't know if is there anybody in here that has a century farm? One, okay. Anybody have maybe only 40 years that the family's been on it? Okay. And then there's some of us who are in less on the farm. I was on this farm, which we purchased and did not even live on for about 20 years. So, but you still get attached to it. There's still things you want to preserve from it. So everybody has a different story, and so what you preserve about it will be different. So when should you start to preserve it? Well, yesterday things are happening, and hopefully you have things in your closets or somewhere, pictures, documents. This is from a property that our daughter and her husband bought in Nebraska, and this old truck was in among the trees. So I don't know what that story is, but it's interesting that things are out there, treasures are out there that you want to find and preserve. So yesterday would have been great. Today I hope you hear and hope you take away just an idea to do something. It's just one thing to start preserving that history. And then tomorrow you can continue to work on what that action steps are. Who tells the farm story? Well, ideally, the owners and the elders who are on the farm now. If you've lost the elders from your family farm, then the next generation would be who you would look at to tell those stories and bring back those memories. I know that both my parents are dead, and so I don't have a lot of memories from my farm that we lived on until I was in the 4th grade, but my sisters are 8 and 9 years older than me, and so they have a lot more, and I sometimes go to them. So you and your siblings could maybe fill in memories and things you need if you want to document things. Even people who have been renters or visitors to your farm might have memories about something. If you have a picture from your farm and you can't figure out what was going on, but you know somebody who rented that land or visited, go ask them the question. People who have lived in the same country or county from you. And then there's always the historical documents. Professionals can always write things for you, or the documents that you might have and just don't realize are buried in your closet. So what I get into more is how to tell the story. And obviously pictures are a great source to start from. We all have family pictures somewhere. Ken Burns does a wonderful job of doing an entire series just with the pictures that he goes from one picture to the other and tells the story in the background. So those are pictures from my childhood on our family farm. I'm sure you have lots of those. So that's one way to tell it, with some either written or audio to go with that. Second is the video and or audio. And I have some examples here I'm going to show in just a minute. Let me go down the list and we'll go back into the videos. And those are things that you can capture those elders and capture them before they start losing their memories. My mother, at the end of her life, had dementia. For a while, we could do long-term memory, and then she lost that too. So anything you can get down. For the written part, Teresa Alpine has written some wonderful things. She wrote a book called Future Family Farms. It's a Practical Farmers Legacy Letter Project, and there are probably over a dozen farmers in here, including who wrote a legacy letter about their farm. This is a wonderful thing to pass on to your children. So if you want to see what that's like, you can buy Teresa's book, and I have resources here where you can get that. Or there's out there free pickup today. If you haven't got one of these, you should. Your Farmland in the Future, Setting Goals, Taking Action. And Teresa in the back has how to write your own legacy letter, things you should write down. Section 1 is, my farm is blank acres, I've owned it since. Enterprises on the farm were, and so forth. And then you get into the memories, the strong memories, and goal setting you did, and parting gifts or things you'd like people to know. This also is very helpful if there's a land transfer issue that you're going to deal with, to know what things were important to the person and how they would like that land treated from then on. So that's a great place to start if you're going to write. So if you have an older person that can write those stories, or you can interview them and you could write them, these are good resources to start with. There are also professionals who will do the writing for you. This is courtesy of Martin Gannon, gave you this information about a company in Omaha. It's also on the resource sheet, but they will do the research and write the book for you if you want, have money. Genealogy is another place you can look for history documents. Is that on, say, unwritten? Oh, yes. And then I'm going to show the videos, but this Mother's Day article came out in the Des Moines Register, and I thought it was wonderful. It was talking about interview your mom on Mother's Day. And it talks about, you can do this. All you need is a smartphone, and most people these days have a smartphone. And if you don't know how to do this, your kids or your grandchildren probably do. But he talks about everything from the type of phone and to what you might use as a few accessories, such as a little tripod, a microphone to improve the quality of that. And then he gets into where do you put this once you have it recorded. And that is something that, Mark, you want to stand up? Mark has a wonderful idea here that is not functional yet, but he's working on it, of a place to uplift or put your videos, your documents, anything. I don't know if you would call it a cloud or what it would be, Mark, but it is a potential.
In 2013, we started a foundation to preserve family farm histories, and we don't quite have it. The original idea was, and not to take the original idea was to use the original Century Farm data, Century and Heritage Farm data that the state of Iowa was holding. There's over 19,000 of these in the state of Iowa, and we've now got copies of all those. It's taken a while to do that, and honestly, they're available. Some of them are available on the. We turned those over to IDOL's, Bill Norley's office, and some of those are now on the Century Farm website. The application, basically, when they started the Century Farm in 1975-76, it was a bicentennial, and they had an application. Some people attach pages and history thing. There's, I don't know, you probably haven't got that yet. There's an example of one of them, 75-76 there. But we have copies of all those. I have them in my office on flash drive. But eventually, we want to put them up on a website and then use that as the original database, and then people can add to that. And you don't have to have a Century Farm. You can start a profile for your own farm, whether you bought it last week or you had it for 50 years and nobody owns it anymore. Angel's Farm is I think you sold that down, but that's a farm that you can tell the story about when it happened. Dennis Keeney, is his book out there, or is it over here?
I saw it up there.
Dennis Keeney wrote a book, and he's on our foundation, on our board on the foundation. He wrote a book on his family, and it was bought, I think, in the 20s and sold in the 60s, but he had a whole history of when they were there, but that would never qualify, never will qualify for the Century Farm status. So anybody that's interested in that foundation, we'll hope to be visible this fall, but there's a little explanation about it.
And there's a place you can contribute to, make a donation to. All right, let's look at a video. Mark made these videos available, and the first one.
Those are anticipation to, we put basically put a camera in front of my mother and asked her about her experience on farm. Didn't want it very long. So we captured that, I think, a couple years ago, and now she's in a nursing home, couldn't even do this. So that's the immediacy with doing these is, I actually tried to start this in the year 2000 and ran into some problems with government officials, and how do I want to say that? So I put it on hold, but how many people have we lost since 2000 that could have told their story about more people? I guess that wish I'd have,
Like capturing the veterans.
wish I'd have captured something from my family that now I can't do. So that's why we want to get this going, so we can do this. Some people have done their own history. There's websites out there where people have done their own history. But again, what we want to do is then to pull those all together and to make those all available. But, you know, the Century Farm and Heritage Farm, there's over almost 200 average per county in the state of Iowa. So we've got a lot of good information out there already. Now it's a matter of making it visible so everybody can see it and making it. We'll have our site in this Century, and then IDOL's going to have their site, but I don't think that, honestly, the IDOL site's going to have some issues. We already know that.
I just want to comment.
Yes.
One year, you never know what you'll give your husband for Christmas. I gave him a Ghost Rider. And she came out and videotaped, it's quite an hour-long videotape that took about a year to do, talking about his family's history. And it was a fun gift idea, because you never know what to get guys in.
I think that's great. I think you could, if your parents want to get you something for Christmas, tell them, give me your stories.
Yeah.
Or that's a wonderful gift idea.
So those.
This is why you get a front seat.
4 brothers, mother and father, and our grandfather, Andrew Harrington, lived with us, so maybe we lived with him because it was his home. My years were spent on the farm, went to country school, and we had a lot of good times there. It was always a busy place. The seasons changed and the work changed. Actually, in later years, I was the teacher there.
No, that stopped.
Can't go back to that.
Yeah.
Born on the census, so maybe we lived with him because it was his home. My years were spent on the farm, went to country school, and we had a lot of good times there. It was always a busy place. The seasons changed and the work changed. Actually, in later years, I was the teacher there at this little country school. It isn't the same anymore. The silo's gone, the big barn is gone, the other barns and cattle sheds and so on are all gone. The only thing that is the original is the house.
Now just one tape. We didn't do anything more than put our pictures with it. Music.
Try the Lang one next if
Yeah,
you
show the
can.
Lang one next. Again, if everybody, if you want to get that down closer, you can certainly see. This is Craig Lang, he's on our board. He used to be head of the Farm Bureau, but they live grew up on the dairy farmers. The whole family's involved in the operation, and this is his dad, who's actually the same age as my mother.
This is
Lang.
like.
But that's,
I am
again,
Maynard Lang. I'm 88 years old. I've lived on this farm for 65 years and now live here with 3 generations. First farm here, my wife's great-grandfather walked out from Ohio and purchased the land, intending to walk back, bring his bride out here, move to Iowa. I was born in 1926. But I distinctly remember the extremely dry years we had in Iowa and the heat and literally growing nothing in the way of corn or pasture or hay. The early part of the United States and up until the last post-World War II, the biggest thing to do was to survive. I've been to a few funerals when I've heard too many grandchildren wondering how quick they get the farm sold. And it doesn't make me real happy when I think about the amount of work that goes into making a living, supporting the family, and paying for the land. I started milking cows, and I was told by county supervisors here that there was a poll going on a group over in Brooklyn, and whether I would last 1 year out here. And that was 65 years ago, so I'm still there.
they took the poll on how long he was going to last. So anyway, that's just the kind of stuff that, when you're talking about preserving the land, that's why we threw this history in here, is it's all part of the picture. And I think that's what makes Iowa unique and the whole Midwest unique, is that it isn't just a commodity. It is to some people, but it isn't to a lot of people. And so, I realize some buildings are gone, some things have changed, but you can still have history. We put signs on properties we've sold that the family wanted to do that they needed to sell it, but we've actually put memorials on the farm memorializing that property. even though they got the money, they still got at least the feeling that, you know, they've done something to preserve the history of that property.
We can
But there's a
go,
lot of things you can do.
we can do questions now, or we can watch the last video, which is a little bit longer. Anyone have questions for, they want to share? Sure.
So I'm 21, so I'm pretty young, but I have two family farms. One of them's 50-ish years old. The other one I've had since 1878. So that one is my dad's side, and my brother and I, when my dad passes, will both get a portion of the 200 acres. So I don't know what to do with that land. I mean, we're renting it out to people right now, and it kind of saddened me because this guy who rented it totally deforest basically our entire farm without telling us. And my dad and brother hunt there, and that's where we, you know, I've been going there since I was a little kid. And so that was a mess. But what I would want to do with my portion, and I don't know how I would go about this, is like preserving the land and making like a prairie or something in that area. How would I go about that?
That's my director's conference.
Yeah.
That goes beyond videos. So were you here for Lisa Schulte?
Yes.
Okay. I think you're doing what you should be doing, is educating yourself and thinking ahead. You've seen what happens when you
Yeah.
don't have
There's no
things
like
written.
contract or anything saying you couldn't do that. So he kind of just swooped in after 7 years of renting and just destroyed all of it. And so
Who's in control now?
we're still letting him rent.
I mean, you're the
My
owner?
dad, my
Your dad.
aunt, and my other
Okay.
uncle. So, yeah. And I didn't know how to go about it because, I mean, this is up in Elkader, Iowa. I'm living in Des Moines and I'm from Cedar Rapids. So, I don't get to go to the land very often anymore since I live here now. So I don't really know how to take care of it when I'm not there, you know? So that's what I'm worried about.
And you don't have control either, so.
Right, and I don't have control.
Right.
So
Is your
that's-
dad still?
Right, and he's only 48, so.
Well, you're educating yourself. That's what's important.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, one of the starting points would be our natural heritage.
Okay.
They can work with it, because we've got some land that we're trying to get preserved, which is not easy to
Yeah.
get done. They would give you some ideas.
Okay.
If you're in the room, you can talk to them.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to, I work with Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, so I'll be happy to visit about some of that.
Yeah, awesome.
Include it.
Thank you.
There's a lot of people that help, really.
Any other thoughts or questions, or shall we watch the other video? I don't see.
I did have a question.
Sure.
The house we live in was built in 1873, so I've got some history and I know how it is. It's not a century farm. I'm having a really hard time finding somebody that can go clear back that far and help me with some of that history, other than doing the research in our local newspapers. I don't know where else to go. And particularly Indian history, I don't know where to get Indian history.
There's county historical site, but
No,
every
this
county,
doesn't work. No, that doesn't work in our county.
there's no county historical society.
Well, it doesn't work in our county.
Or how, I mean, you know, there's,
I mean, I know where to get information. I don't know whether I can go to, like, the genealogy or the Iowa City. I don't know if they have that kind of information. I don't know where the resource is for
you just want to know people or you want to know more history?
people.
There's a genealogy society, I don't know how, I've never used them, but down there across,
And I've used them for some things.
or I don't know how were they, any help?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure there's an answer to that question. Thank you.
Yeah, my brother actually, he goes to Iowa State, but he was really bored one day and just started Googling and searching and calling and just getting connections to find out stuff about our farm. We found out a whole bunch about our genealogy, and it was awesome. And so we wrote it all out, we made copies, we sent it to our family members. It was really cool. So, I mean, he literally spent all day on the internet, like making all this quarterhouse. Like trying to figure
You
stuff
can
out.
get aerial pictures from, I think it's 1932 from USDA.
Wow.
If you get online, they're there and you can print them off. One thing we discovered in looking at our farm, there was a farmstead on it that we never even knew was there.
Anybody else done some research or done something to preserve their family history, farm history? You're just thinking about it, right?
What we're going to do with that site, that Family Farm History site, is be able to post all that information to preserve it forever, because we have the same issue with, we've got a lot of genealogy, and sometimes we have trouble finding it because it's in a book somewhere and somebody passed it to somebody else. So let's put it all where it can stay permanently.
Should we have flash time? That's 5 minutes? Is that
Sure.
right?
And I apologize that this is not working like it did this morning.
It's a guy named Bud Drake.
Yes. Thank you. This is the most extensive.
93 years old, 96.
Here's breathing.
Bud Drake is my name. Oak City is my address. I was born the 28th of October, 1920. And right now my hearing aid just went dead in my ear. So I don't hear quite so good. Farming came first, let's put it that way. I stayed at home and farmed with my dad. That's all I wanted to do, and I missed a lot of school. At corn planting time and harvest time, you know, everybody had their chores to do. Pick up cobs out of the hog lot and the horse draws, put in the cook stove. Every kid had their chores. We were all busy. I remember cutting oats. I used to shock a lot. 4 horses on a binder, and Dad would cut the oats and I would shock. One guy farms thousands of acres now. It's nothing like a family farm was back 60, 70, 80 years ago. We didn't have electricity, we didn't have running water, nothing like that. And I can remember several mornings, snow being on my blanket where it come in at the edge of the roof. But we didn't think nothing about it, you know, it was just, that was life. Oh, the dust, Jesus.
All these pictures.
It drifted in the fence row, just like the snow drifts. Yep. Yep. The few people that had electricity and had a yard light, it got so dark from the dust that the yard light would come on. In the house, you could, the dust, it just penetrated every place. You could write your name on the table, on a chair in the dust. It was just, you couldn't keep it out. If you was outside working, it was in your teeth. It was gritty. It was rough going for a while, but we survived. And then in 43, I got married and started farming for myself in 44. This is my wife. She was president of the class. This is still their class. We go to a movie once or twice a week. And the cafe then, we'd come out of the movie and I'd go and have a Coke and she'd have a cup of coffee. We'd come home, then go to sleep at her place. 3 or 4 o'clock we'd wake up then and I'd have to go home. And we married in 43 and in 46 I think when Doyle was born. That was our first one, you know, and everybody thought a lot of him. We had a neighbor, Harvey Pease. Doyle couldn't talk too well. He had an old felt hat. Doyle called it the Harvey Pease hat. A lot of the neighbors, they picked that up. Soon they'd see that. Oh, that's a Harvey Pease hat. She was a farmer. She was a livestock. She just loved livestock. In a cold weather, I had a heifer in the feedlot. She had a calf, and it was dead. No, Donna says it isn't. We drove up the house. We had a heat stove in the south room. Donna, that calf, no it isn't, Dad. I seen it move, it's alive. She said, up all night I think with that calf. She talks about it yet. She says, yet that calf was alive when we brought it in the house. That's okay, Donna. She said, she done her best to bring it back to life. Anyway, he was smart. Mom used to get disgusted with him. She had to go to school several times because he was thorough. And if the teacher really didn't think she was just right, he would get the textbook out and he would check and check and check. He wouldn't be damn sure he was right. It's interesting to see the changes that's been made. It's nothing to what it was before. It's just altogether different. If our folks could see what's taking place now, they would. No, they wouldn't believe it. Here's an antique. It's a side. What we used to made the fence rows, the weeds in the fence rows. That was the main reason.
When I was home, I can remember plowing with 5 horses on a gang plow and 3 horses on a sulky plow. You get on the tractor now, you don't need to stop. You have to rest your horses. You got them in the morning, you harnessed them, you fed them, you hitched them up, you went out, you planted corn. Well, and then if hot day, you stop and rest them. But the tractor, you just keep it going, you know. That's all I know, that's all I've ever done. That's all I ever want to do. I'm at ease when I'm on the tractor in the combine.
Say it, you just let them say it. And there's a guy, the dad, the one son, the last son that they showed there, wanted to do this video. We went to see him and he just said, I don't have anything to say. I got nothing to say. I'm like, what do you do? What are we doing? But he talked for hours. And that's what we got out of him.
Yeah, we go on just without questions.
Yeah.
We have questions to pull out. Please feel free to come pick up a resource page if you want. I hope you're inspired to do something.